weather. It's not that hot out. You're going to be able to get these guys the running and meet before you taper down a little bit.
I don't know how to really deal with weather appropriately.
You're an expert at it, though.
Well, I'm a weatherman, but it doesn't. I don't know if what we do is incredibly the right thing to do when it comes to our student athletes. But we had 4 good days before we came down here last week, and the weather in Morgantown was unseasonably warm. So we got good work. I don't care what the weather is. Just it's all about getting good quality work. We got 4 good days in Morgantown, and then come down here and we'll have 2 good days, and then try to start backing off of them a little bit before the game. But we're happy to be here. Everybody's got here safe and sound, and excited to be back in Orlando. These guys do such a good job when it comes to the bowl festivities and just this facilities, from hotel to events, obviously with theme parks and everything. That makes it easier. But there's nothing. There's no shortage of things to do. So this is as good as it gets when it comes to a bowl destination, and I know our guys will have a good time here for the short period that we'll be here.
What have you seen from the guys who are going to fill in a quarterback for Will in this bowl game, and that are going to essentially be the future for these guys?
Yeah, it's not like we haven't practiced them for the last year. These guys have done a good job for us. I think Jack's been outstanding when it comes to a backup quarterback. The time that he's been able to go in and play, I thought he's went in and played pretty good. So guys change quickly when they get out of the backup mentality, the backup role. Guys change, and I've been excited and encouraged to see what he's been doing with the practice reps that he's got over the last couple of weeks. So he's attacked it the right way, and I've been satisfied with that. And then Trey's he's a freshman, hasn't had any game snaps. I'm anxious to see how he does when it comes to game snaps, but he's been with us for a whole year now, and has taken advantage of his reps as well. So I'm anxious to see how he responds. I asked him if he's going to be nervous going into it, and he said no. So he goes, "It's just football, coach." I said, "That's a great attitude." So I've been happy with both of them, and keep practicing here this week, get a week better, and then look forward to what they do on Friday night.
Some of the other younger players you talked about working in through the year and getting them more practice. Is that just another thing that contributes to using all 15 practices not being as important now because you can get them in more, work them more?
I don't even think there's a 15 practice rule anymore. Everybody wants to make a big deal about how you get 15 practices. I don't know how people get 15 practices. Especially with the earlier bowl games, you can't practice them during finals. We got to be out on the road recruiting for 2-3 weeks prior to. I think 15 practices is extremely optimistic, even though that rule doesn't exist anymore. So we got a good week of practice in, and then we get down here and have another good week of practice. That's about the extent of it. I think I've been very encouraged with practicing these guys throughout the course of the year. We've got more developmental work throughout the course of the year than we ever have based on this new redshirt rule. We can't ignore guys that are redshirting anymore, and that's been the case in the past, where you focus on the guys that are playing. You try to develop them as much as you want to, but that's really what the off season's for. So we've made a conscious effort this year to really focus on those guys that are redshirting and practice them more. And so that's why I think you're going to see about 10 guys that'll probably take reps in this game that are all utilizing a redshirt role. So. Whether any of them make plays or not, I don't know, yet to be determined. But there's some guys that I've been encouraged by.
You're still using the Thursday night football during the regular season and evaluating off of that?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that we did. And you got to push coaches to be excited about that. A lot of our young coaches did a good job with coaching guys up, but just because it was such an emphasis on, you got to coach them hard, and you got to teach them what to do, because later in the year we'll be able to play them. And we've had hundreds of more snaps on that Thursday night football than we ever have in years past. So got guys ready to play, I think, quicker than it would have in the past.
Gary, in David was such a great tandem. Who is that guy now for Gary to balance out with David on the other side of the field when you go there?
Well, Marcus has been, he's been pretty good throughout. He's arguably was our best receiver the first, probably 33% of the season. I mean, his numbers were the best. He he got injured, and that's part of the game. And I don't think he handled the injury as well as he could have, But the same thing happened to Gary. I mean, Gary had an injury, and it affected his production as well. But Marcus needs to have a good week of practice and see if he can pick up some of the slack. And then TJ Simmons is the other guy. TJ will start we're moving him to inside receiver, which is his natural position. With Gary not being here, that gives us an opportunity to move TJ in. And he's got 2-3 weeks of work where, I think that will benefit him heading into next year. But he looks good in there. That's his natural position. It's where he feels the most comfortable. Those are our 3 starters. Those 3 have started for us throughout the course of the year quite a bit. So, I think we're in good shape when it comes to that. And then, obviously, Wesco and Haskins are Tevin Bush is another guy that fills the role as those inside receivers. And then Sam James and Bryce Wheaton are really probably getting the majority of the reps throughout the course of these last couple weeks. Those guys they get better and better, and they look pretty good to me.
I would say with Jack, he probably got a lot of reps with those guys.
He did.
So there's some continuity there.
He did, and feels good. He was always in there with the backups, and the backups are Sam and Bryce and Dom Maiden and Tevin and Giovanni. He's been throwing to Giovanni for 3 years now. So I like what I see. I'm encouraged by it, and we got to block good up front, and those guys are doing a good job up front, and we got to get the run game going with these backs that we got. But what Syracuse does is they take away the run. They're going to put more people in the box than we can block, so that makes that pass game all the more important.
So based on Syracuse, you're probably expecting a lot of pressure.
I am, and it just makes sense. I mean, they do pressure people, and they take chances with how they play defensively, much like we do. But I'm expecting quite a bit of it. We've studied all their blitzes, and they like to put a lot of people in the box and pressure people, so that's what I'm expecting them to do.
Coach, your president was pretty popular here in Orlando with UCF when he came out with his comments about playoff expansion. Are you aligned with that, or you care?
I have my own opinions, but nobody seems to really listen to them.
I'd love to listen. What do you
think? Expansion is kind of a dead topic at this point in time. I don't think it's dead for long, but it's dead at this point. They've been. The Big 12 and some other conferences have been pretty vocal when it comes to we're not doing anything at this point in time right now. I don't think it's over. I think there's going to be probably some expansion in the future, whether that's 2 more years or 4 more years. I lose track of what the TV contracts are and all that stuff. But I think there's probably one more, on the horizon, and UCF, because of what they've done in the American the last couple of years, are positioning themselves fairly nicely. So I don't think it's a dead subject for them or a couple other of these group of 5s that are pretty good.
One more on Syracuse. Basically, statistically, they're about the same, but they're scoring a bunch more points. Is it because of the turnovers? Is that why they're scoring more than they did last year?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's certain. There's a lot of possessions in their games. And when you snap the ball, they're 70, 82, 83. But they're number 2 in the country in the amount of snaps that they play, and then the way they play defense as well. I mean, they give up some plays and some yards, but they're getting off the field on 3rd downs. They're just the amount of punts and punt returns and special teams plays and general are as high as I've seen in quite some time. So it's just the amount of changing of possessions. And when you possess the ball 16, 17, 18 times a game, your points are going to be up. So that's just the style that they play, and we're accustomed to that. It's not necessarily how I like to do it all the time, but we're accustomed to it and understand that it's a long game, and no matter what happens, you got to keep playing.
Pretty close to a Big 12 team offensively.
It is, yeah. I mean, he was at Baylor for 3 years and learned that system, and It's worked for him, you know. Just when they went to Bowling Green, I mean, he got those guys pretty good in 3 years, and you know, it's pretty much the same staff at Syracuse, and you know, 3 years into it, they're pretty good at what they do. So they got something they believe in, and from a team's perspective, they're good with being able to play like that.